In a bustling city filled with the sounds of traffic, people, and the constant hum of life, there was a hero unlike any other. Known to the public as the Silent Protector, this mysterious figure moved through the city without a single sound. They were a vigilante whose quiet presence sent a powerful message, but no one really knew who they were or where they came from. What set the Silent Protector apart wasn't just their ability to slip through the shadows undetected, it was their silence. Born without the ability to speak, the Silent Protector, whose real name was Alex, had learned early on to navigate a world that rarely slowed down to listen. Growing up mute, Alex was forced to develop other ways to communicate and understand their surroundings. Their heightened senses became their strongest tools. What they couldn't hear with their ears, they could feel in the subtle vibrations of the ground or see in the tiniest shifts in movement. These natural abilities only sharpened with time, and as they grew, so did their awareness of the injustice around them. Alex had always been an observer, watching silently as crime slowly consumed the city. They saw the desperation in people's eyes, the fear that gripped them as darkness fell. But instead of retreating into that darkness, Alex chose to fight back. Their journey toward becoming a hero began not out of anger or revenge, but out of a deep sense of responsibility, an understanding that just because they couldn't speak didn't mean they had no voice. Determined to make a difference, Alex dedicated their life to honing both their mind and body. They trained relentlessly, focusing on martial arts that emphasized agility, precision, and awareness. Every punch, kick, and movement was calculated, silent but deadly. Unlike many other heroes, Alex didn't rely on brute strength. Instead, their combat style was fluid, using their opponent's movements against them, disarming them before they even had a chance to react. But it wasn't just physical skills that Alex mastered. Over time, they perfected a unique form of sign language that they used to communicate with the few trusted allies they allowed into their circle. This language wasn't just for communication. It became an integral part of their crime-fighting method. Alex could silently direct civilians to safety, signal their allies, or even distract their enemies with a quick, subtle motion. To anyone watching, it was as if they were orchestrating a symphony of gestures, each movement deliberate and powerful. Their heightened senses became their greatest advantage. Where others might rely on sound to detect danger, Alex could feel the faintest tremor in the ground or notice the smallest flicker of a shadow. These abilities allowed them to remain several steps ahead of their foes, and they became a master at predicting attacks before they happened. Alex often used the city's urban environment to their advantage, scaling buildings, slipping into narrow alleyways, and using the shadows to conceal their presence. The Silent Protector's mission was simple: to rid the city of crime, one quiet step at a time. But their silence wasn't just a necessity, it was their weapon. Criminals had become accustomed to the loud sirens of police cars or the sound of heroes shouting commands, but the Silent Protector moved with a calm, eerie stillness that caught them off guard. They could infiltrate a room full of enemies without a single footstep being heard, disarm an entire group of thugs, and disappear before anyone realized they had even been there. Alex's first major victory as the Silent Protector came when they uncovered a human trafficking ring operating in the heart of the city. Using their heightened senses, they managed to track the subtle movements of the operation, following leads that no one else could detect. Their senses picked up on faint vibrations in the ground, indicating hidden underground tunnels used by the traffickers, and it wasn't long before Alex had mapped out the entire operation. With careful precision, they made their move. No alarms were triggered, no one shouted for help. By the time the authorities arrived, the traffickers were already incapacitated, tied up with their own weapons, and the victims had been led to safety. The news exploded across the city. A mute hero had taken down one of the largest criminal organizations without making a sound. What made the Silent Protector so compelling was that they didn't seek fame or recognition. While the media clamored to know more about this mysterious figure, Alex remained in the shadows, continuing their quiet war against crime. Their silence became their symbol. The public saw in them a hero who didn't need words to inspire hope or command respect. It was their actions that spoke the loudest. Alex understood that the world was noisy enough, that sometimes silence was more powerful than words. They taught the city an important lesson, that strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the strongest voice is the one that isn't heard at all. It wasn't about being mute, it was about showing that actions have more weight than words. Their silence became a reflection of the justice they sought, a justice that was swift, deliberate, and without the need for fanfare. However, the city's criminal underworld wasn't content to let the Silent Protector continue their reign of silent justice. The most dangerous crime boss, Victor Kane, viewed Alex's success as a threat to his control. Kane wasn't like the petty criminals Alex had dealt with before. He was ruthless, cunning, and ready to do whatever it took to bring the Silent Protector down. He put a bounty on Alex's head, hiring mercenaries and hitmen to flush them out. What Kane didn't realize was that Alex thrived in the shadows. While the mercenaries relied on brute force, heavy weaponry, and chaos, Alex remained calm, outmaneuvering them with ease. They used their knowledge of the city's layout, their acute senses, and their tactical training to evade capture time and time again. The final confrontation came when Kane himself set a trap, luring Alex into an abandoned warehouse by capturing one of their closest allies. Kane had equipped the building with sound-dampening technology, believing that if he took away Alex's senses, they would be defenseless. But Alex wasn't one to be easily defeated. As they entered the warehouse, they immediately noticed the unnatural stillness. Their senses, usually so sharp, felt dulled by the sound-dampening equipment. But instead of panicking, Alex adapted. Relying solely on their sight and instinct, they engaged Kane's men in battle, using the environment to their advantage. The fight was intense, with Alex narrowly dodging bullets and disarming attackers with their silent precision. When they finally reached Kane, the crime boss mocked Alex for their silence, claiming that a hero who couldn't speak would never truly win. But Alex's answer was swift and silent, a series of sign language gestures that Kane didn't understand, followed by a rapid takedown that left him unconscious on the floor. The authorities arrived soon after, finding Kane and his men subdued, and Alex once again vanished into the night without a sound. The Silent Protector's legacy became one of quiet resilience. They taught the city that true strength doesn't come from words, but from action, and that sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who don't need to be heard to be understood. The city's streets became safer under their watchful, silent gaze, and while no one ever heard their voice, their impact echoed louder than any words could. And so, the Silent Protector continued their mission, a guardian who moved through the city unnoticed, yet always present, always listening.